So we usually think of Johannes Brahms, 1833 to 1897, as one of the real heavyweights of the German Romantic tradition. You may know him as one of the three Bs. We think of Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. There was a lighter side of Brahms, though. There's examples of Brahms' music where he is decidedly unbuttoned. He had a lady admirer who asked for his autograph, and he agreed to do that. She had a handheld fan that she was waving herself with, so he took the fan and he wrote down on it a musical incipit. She thought that he was writing down one of his themes. It was the Blue Danube Waltz of Johann Strauss. And then Brahms signed it, Leider nicht von Brahms, which means unfortunately not by Brahms. So he knew a great melody when he heard it, and the melody didn't have to be by Beethoven or Bach to be great. Brahms was a passionate devotee of opera, even though he never wrote an opera. And the opera that intrigued him the most was Bizet's Carmen, which was a sensational piece when it came out. What's not well known is Brahms went to see Carmen about 20 times, which tells us a lot about Brahms. The other area where he was into the popular music of his time has to do, of course, with his engagement with Hungarian music. If you were in Vienna in the 1870s and 80s, and if you were sipping coffee at a cafe, there would be roving bands of Hungarian musicians. They would be playing urban music. And Brahms listened to this and made a number of arrangements throughout his career, all told about 21 of these pieces. He originally wrote them for a piano duet, but they quickly became so popular that they were transcribed in various arrangements. His great friend Joseph Joachim, who was a Hungarian violinist, made arrangements for violin and piano, and then the Italian cellist Alfredo Piatti made arrangements of all 21 for cello and piano, which Nancy Green and I have been working on. And in these arrangements, you get a totally different side of Brahms. There's not the heavy hitter Brahms with a lot of counterpoint and all of the rich German traditions. Rather, this is popular music. It's music that Brahms' contemporaries would have thought of as sort of folk music. The interesting irony of it is that it really wasn't true folk music. You know, it would wait until the 20th century with Bartók and Kodály, who would go out into the hinterland of Hungary and they would discover the real folk music. But the gypsy music, the Zigeunermusik, that Brahms knew was urban music, but it was popular music, and Brahms made these superb renditions, which then spread like wildfire. So one thing that strikes me about these 7 pieces that we've recorded is that they offer really the full range of Hungarian music at the time that Brahms had heard. That said, of course, there are 21 of these, and they tend to divide into, seems to me, 2 basic types. There are the slow dances that are really emotional, very powerful, and then there are those pieces that go at lightning speed. From the pianistic perspective, there are all kinds of little adjustments, it seems to me, that have to be made to make this music work and to get its meaning across. What about from the cellistic perspective? I mean, as you play this, it's different than playing, Brahms F major sonata or E minor sonata, right?
The thing that's especially just really, really fun about playing these pieces, they're incredibly free. The rubato, you have swooning, time-taking, and incredible accelerando, and a lot of shaping in the phrase. There's a lot of lines that are very vocal, but you might have something that's like a wild dance, and everything in between. And that's the special thing that makes it especially fun, is that flexibility, and that one is playing with piano, but one isn't hemmed in by a really structured piano writing. There's an incredible amount of freedom.
I have a hunch why Brahms kept coming back to the Hungarian music and doing all these arrangements. He's on record as hating metronomes. He hated metronomes. For him there was metronomic time, literal time, and then there was musical time. And he was really into musical time. So this Hungarian music gave him the opportunity to sort of let loose and just play the way he wanted to play, with wild abandonment or with a soulful poignance, depending as the occasion demanded.
I have a friend whose family and grandparents and descendants are Hungarian, and she described dancing as a child. They had these crazy dances, and as a little girl, she had a kind of thing with ribbons coming down, and she talked about spinning the dancing, and it would get crazier and crazier and wild, and they would spin around. And I have that image when I'm playing these, incredible freedom.
The other thing about it is we'll never know for sure exactly what Brahms tampered with a little bit, but my understanding is that all of these dances, or the vast majority of them, are based on actual music that was in circulation. So Brahms was arranging this stuff, but being the great composer that he was, for sure, he would have, adjusted fine details. So there's Brahms in this music as well as it being reflective of Hungarian music that would have been heard in Budapest or Vienna and other parts of the Austrian Empire.
The arrangements by Piatti, you can tell when you see them that they must have been written by a cellist, because there are thirds, sixths, octaves, tenths, and all sorts of things that work very, very well for the cello. So it's very gratifying for the cellist and really a lot of fun. And it would have been hard, I think, for anybody who was not a player to make arrangements like this.
I should also mention that Dvorak, I think, made some arrangements of these pieces, in addition to his own Slavonic dances. So the idea of doing national pieces in various arrangements was quite current at the time. It was one way that these musicians tried to explore the full range of national styles which were emerging in the second half of the 19th century.